Well, hello Internet, and welcome to my NLP Meta-Programming tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about how our brains store information and then how everyone reasons, gathers additional information, reacts to situations, and makes decisions. That's a mouthful. NLP is used in nearly every form of professional marketing you consume on a daily basis. It is a branch of psychology first created by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Basically what they did was they studied the top psychologists of their time and then labeled step by step exactly how they were able to become successful in treating clients. So that's basically what NLP is. It's a study of communication and ways to change the mind. It's very fascinating, and I cover tons about NLP in a bunch of different videos. Metaprogramming is the programming in your brain that you use to react in all situations. In NLP, it's often said that the map is not the territory. What exactly does that mean? Well, every time we experience anything in life, we leave out a large portion of the information. We ignore and generalize because there's just too much information to take in. The information that we do store makes up our own personal version of what happened during any point in the past. What we actually store in our brains are fragments of either images, or we actually replay the whole entire process in our brain, or we remember things that we heard. Our metaprogramming deciphers these personal maps, or these images, sounds, and videos. When you're first trained on how to apply NLP techniques, you're asked a series of questions that tell you how your brain actually works. In this video, I will show you exactly how my brain works. I'm not supposed to do this, and I was warned a bunch of times not to do this because this information is extremely valuable to marketing companies. And whenever you're answering these personality questions on Facebook, this is the actual information that the marketing companies are gathering. So those are quite dangerous if they are used properly. In this video, I'm going to go through exactly how our brains process information. I have no idea if this information is boring to people or not. So leave a comment below if you want to see exactly all the different ways that our brains process information. I'm going to start off with reasoning style. People will either want details or the general case. I specifically prefer the specifics and not the general. I'm more of a give me the details and I'll see what it means to me, not a give me your general concept and I'll figure out how it applies to me. If you want to find out what type of person you're dealing with, just ask, what do you prefer first, the big picture or the details? Under the category of relationship style, what I'm referring to here is how you relate one thing to another, being that you would relate what's different between the two things or what's similar. I prefer to sort the differences when I attempt to understand something new. I love change, variety, and newness. I'm not a person that likes regularity, conservatism, and security. Those are people that like what is similar. If you want to find out what somebody is, just ask them to tell me what you think about these two things. And if they start giving you a bunch of differences or what's similar, then you know what type of person you're dealing with. I've talked a lot about representational systems in the past. People are either strongly auditory, being that they remember what they heard, visual, remember what they saw, kinesthetic, which is jargon that basically means remember what something felt like, or remembering something like a texture or on a different level of feeling what an experience felt like in actually performing a certain action, or internal auditory, which means they basically talk to themselves a lot. I'm strongly visual when remembering past events. However, I make decisions by talking my way through the decision. If you want to find out what somebody is, just ask them what lets you know that you can believe something feels right for you, or do you believe something because it sounds right, makes sense, looks right, or feels right. And again, the makes sense would refer to somebody who's strongly internal auditory. In regards to information gathering, people are either in uptime or downtime. I operate in an uptime state when talking with people in that I analyze everything they're saying verbally and non-verbally. A person who operates in downtime would seem unfocused because they're constantly going inside of themselves to deduct how the information they're hearing affects their thoughts and feelings. To find out what somebody is, ask them, do people say you are a good listener, or do you find you daydream a lot? Or you could also ask, do you sometimes get lost in your own thoughts during conversations? Another information gathering style is in regards to whether somebody is a fact gatherer or if they rely heavily on intuition. I operate as a fact gatherer when gathering information. I spend more time working with facts rather than trusting my own intuition. If you want to find out what somebody is, just ask them, when evaluating something, do you want proof and evidence, or would you prefer to take a small amount of information and think through the applications on your own? Or more simply, you could just ask, do you make decisions based off of practical facts or possibility or gut feelings? In regards to perceptual category styles, you either have people who believe there's definitely right and wrong answers to every question, or that the world is made up of a multitude of gray answers. When making decisions, I operate more as a black or white thinker. I believe that most questions have a definite right or wrong answer. Gray thinkers believe that there can be many possible right answers and that one should think very carefully before making a decision. I want to emphasize here that between these different styles, there is no right and wrong. You're either one way or another, and for the most part, one is not better than the other. To find out what somebody is, ask them, do you find it easy to make quick decisions, or do you prefer to take your time making the best decision possible? Or you could ask, do you think of the world as black and white or a multitude of grays? Then you have people who are either optimists or pessimists. I operate as an optimist in that I am led most by my focus on visions and dreams. When approaching a potential problem, I think about solutions, ideas, and suggestions. A pessimist would focus more on dangers, threats, or potential difficulties. Here to again emphasize on the fact that there is no right or wrong. Optimists, who are often thought of as being better than pessimists, often gloss over things and make a lot of mistakes, while pessimists, while they take a lot longer to get things done, they often get things completely done, meaning that there were very few mistakes. You want to find out what somebody is? Ask, when you are presented with a problem, do you first consider worst case scenarios or best case scenarios? Or do you spend more time thinking about problems or opportunities? Then you have whether people prefer new options or prefer old solutions. I operate with a permeable attitude in that I'm open to new ideas. I don't believe that just because something works, you shouldn't be open to an idea that might work better. People who are impermeable process ideas and beliefs and stick with them in a way that they don't welcome new information. If you want to find out what somebody is, just ask, are you more attracted to new ideas or ideas that have stood the test of time? People are also either focused or unfocused. I'm an unfocused person in that I find it difficult to read or screen out my surrounding environment. People that are naturally focused find no problem screening out most any environment when concentrating. I believe that this backs up my belief that I am more attuned with my auditory mode over the others. To find out what somebody is, simply ask, do you find it easy to concentrate in most any environment, or do you get distracted while reading in some environments? Or to make it simple, do you find some places are too noisy to concentrate in? Then you have the philosophical direction, meaning whether somebody is a why did it happen or a how did it happen type of person. I'm more interested in what I can do about a problem. I'm more interested in the how than I am about the why it happened. Again, just ask, when approaching a problem, will you first ask why it occurred or jump in and respond to it? Or you could also ask, do you prefer to think about why things happen or focus on solving issues? Then you have the people that believe the earth is fairly constant or constantly changing. I see the world as pretty constant. Things change, but in the grand scheme of things, everything is pretty much the same. Non-Aristotelian people see the world as not being full of people and things, but instead see the world as actions. Those actions, for example, being changes in weather, activities, and so forth. You could ask somebody, do you think the world is pretty much the same or changing dramatically day to day? Then you have channel preferences being either verbal or nonverbal. I lay more importance in how a person says something than what they say. This is mainly because I've spent a great deal of time studying body language. People that focus on the verbal channel trust more what people say. They believe body language is not important. To find out, just ask, do you lay more importance in what someone says or how do they say it? Or you could also ask, do you trust more what a person says or their body language? I could go into a lot more in regards to metaprogramming, but again, I don't know if this is of interest to people or not. I get lots of questions that sort of tell me you're interested in metaprogramming, but it's totally up to you guys. So leave comments below if you want to find out how we input, process, and output information based on emotions, how we decide, develop preferences, and focus attention, how we decide how to respond through communication and work with others, what we value, how we see ourselves and the world. Till next time.